Laura Watson, would you introduce yourself and tell us what your role is in the church leadership?
Certainly, Lisa. Hello, everyone. My name is Laura Watson, and I'm currently the chair of the trustees. We oversee the building, the investments of the church, and your safety.
Awesome. Can you tell us a little bit about the background of the audiovisual proposal that has been approved?
Certainly. You all might remember in 2019, our church went through a discernment process of whether to join the Next Level Innovations Initiative. And we met and we discussed it, and we had a church charter, and we overwhelmingly approved to move into the Next Level Innovation Plan. And this plan involves neighborhood connections, improving our communications, improving our discipleship, and hospitality, and decluttering. And in 2020, as we're about to move into this plan more actively, the pandemic hit. And we had to switch all of our resources and all of our messaging to virtual communications. So after that switch, we knew that there is no going back, that we had to remain in the virtual environment, and we needed to prepare for our next steps with that environment when people would return to in-person church and in-person Bible studies, but there's still those at home or across the nation that have joined our church community that would want to continue to participate. So we began exploring what was our next step with audio, visual, and virtual connections.
So can you tell us a little bit about the process that the trustees went through in approving the proposal?
Great question, Lisa. The worship committee, along with church volunteers that are heavily involved in producing our worship services, developed technical requirements. And we took those technical requirements and we approached 3 different companies to bid on this work. We received those 3 bids, and one of those bids was remarkably much better than the other 2. From there, we went on a site visit to visit previous work done by this contractor and to see how the controls worked, how the lighting worked, how the microphones worked. And we took not only trustees, we took church staff and other worship members that contribute to the service on a regular basis. And from there, we took that information back to the trustees. We reviewed the 3 proposals and voted to accept the lowest cost one, which helps us all out, and the one that fits our needs the best.
Susan White, would you tell us what your role is at the church?
Yes, thank you, Lisa. I am the chair of the church council. And so that means we sort of oversee all of the business of the church.
Excellent. And so can you tell us a little bit about the process for this proposal? Once it was approved by trustees and it went on to council, what happened next?
When it came to council, we were very excited to see the proposal because we knew it would help in our continuing efforts to reach out to our community. As Laura has already said, even when we go back to in-person worship, we will want to maintain a virtual presence. And we were so excited, we had an hour-and-a-half long Q&A session that we invited church council members to attend as needed. Laura was there to talk from the trustees' perspective, and John Othink, who is chair of finance, was there to talk about it from the financial perspective. Several people who had participated in the development of the proposal were there to answer questions, and we encouraged all council members to come by, drop in at any point, and ask whatever questions they wanted to ask.
And once it was put to a vote, was it supported well by the council?
It was unanimously supported by the council. There were all the votes were for the proposal.
Excellent. Can you tell us what the total price tag is for this proposal and where is the money coming from?
Sure. The total price tag is $130,000, and it's coming from money set aside back in 2019 in the NLI initiative. This is part of supporting NLI, as Laura has mentioned. So we feel like it's a great use of the NLI funds. It does not use all the NLI funds. There are still some left.
After NLI passed, the executive committee met several times, and we realized we had major projects we wanted to accomplish with this initiative. Some of those projects will be like renovating the kitchen, modernizing Quarry Hall, improving our communications, and our audiovisual was also on that list. And we felt like we needed a commitment from the council that we were going to invest in these big projects. So we reviewed the investment funds from our portfolio that our church holds, and we identified the Mary Jones account as a flexible spending account. And we approached the council and asked for $250,000 to be approved for NLI projects from the Mary Jones account. And the council approved those funds for whatever purpose that forthcoming councils would determine those funds should be used in to support the next level innovations.
My name is John Pierce. I am the Director of Sales and Marketing for Audio Video Group. We are a commercial audio video integrator, which means we do audio, video, and lighting integration into all sorts of spaces. So we like to say our job is to help you share your voice and vision through technology. So we will take systems that include sound systems, cameras, video projection, lighting systems for theaters, houses of worship, even conference rooms, boardrooms. We do a lot with healthcare, and we make sure that we help our folks communicate their message using technology. And in your case, your congregation share scripture through the use of a sound system, lighting system, and video projection, which could be screens, projectors, all sorts of stuff. And so we've been around for 21 years. And we're very proud of what we do. A lot of us are very involved in our own churches, and it's not all that we do, but it's near and dear to our heart. So that's who Audio Video Group is.
Tom, could you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about the project specifically for Clarendon?
Absolutely. Thanks, Lisa. My name is Tom Belandi. I'm the Senior Sales Representative here at Audio Video Group. From my perspective, actually started October 29th with a gentleman named Furtado-Gilliam and Miss Lisa Gibbs-Smith. We met down at the church and actually had a historic picture I showed you the other day. Essentially, we looked at it as a clean slate. Hey, what's worked for us in the past and what hasn't? One of the major focuses was on moving the equipment rack from the back of the room where nobody could see what's going on in the church to do any of the tweaking that's required during a service. So we did the big move of moving it upstairs, or we'll be doing that shortly. And then we also looked at a lot of the functionality. So we basically just went to work and we brought in all of her team players to kind of figure out what's wrong. What would you like to have in your dream system? Is kind of where we always start. And basically through a lot of visits, we brought in Lyle Saunders, our engineer, who happens to be a musician as well. So that kind of brought a neat perspective into the project. There is a Calvary United Methodist Church And we actually, if you recall, we took the folks from Clarendon down there to kind of get a live presentation of not only the kind of work we do, but the end result of our fantastic install guys. So we took them down there one evening, and they got a real up close and personal look at their system, was able to talk to Pastor Connor. And, you know, it was important for a couple of reasons. One is it was kind of eerie how similar the project we did at Calvary UMC ended up to being when we were finalizing engineering for Clarendon. So our goal all along was, number one, let's fix what's wrong. Let's get back to distributing your worship message the way everybody wants to hear and see it. We're very grateful and actually honored to be chosen to be that person that's really going to lock arms with you and move you guys into the future.
Awesome. Are you able to articulate the general time frame of how long this will take?
The rule of thumb in our industry, Lisa, is, you know, small to medium projects, 8 to 10 weeks. We consider this a large project. So you're in the, you know, 12 to 14 week time frame. The one thing we are at the mercy of during the pandemic is some of the manufacturer channels have been very slow and components are held up. And so, you know, we try to be as proactive as we can. It's all very high-end digital manufacturers that we work with for a very long time. So they have longevity, they have stability. You know, we certainly put a system together that can grow, you know, if you want to add some things later in the future. So it's definitely expandable. But I would say safely, to be safe with the pandemic issues and everything, roughly about 4 months. And understanding, you know, we are going to be very cautious. We understand maintaining the aesthetics. And of course, in these trying times, maintaining the CDC guidelines and make sure everybody's safe. So work moves a little slower today than it did prior to the pandemic, but you know, the end result's going to be the same.
Could you speak a little bit about what's going to be new for us, the component of live streaming?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So that is one of the driving forces behind this project. And what you'll really be able to do is, from anywhere in the world, as long as you have internet, you'll be able to join the service, you know, at Clarendon UMC. And the other layer is involving youth in your congregation. You know, when you expand your technology and message, I think you'll draw in, you know, that particular group of people in the you know, the younger age bracket. So all in all, it's going to really stand the church up as being a modern worship house. And I think overall, everybody's going to get comfortable with it. And then, Lord willing, when we get back in there, they'll really experience, you know, an amazing sound system and video system that it's really going to be an enjoyable service when we're done.
John, does AV Group provide any kind of support for us once the project is complete?
Absolutely. So initially there's a training, there's a walkthrough and orientation of how the system is designed and functioned and installed. And then afterwards, there's an official training where we walk through the actual functionality. We kind of like to describe it, it's like you buy a car, they don't teach you how to drive, but we make sure that you know how to use the system. And there's so much that goes into what makes your church, your congregation, yours. And so we don't try and customize it to meet those needs specifically, because we want you to have that creative capability, because that's what these AV systems will allow you to do. But we'll make sure that you know how to use it to meet that creative. So they train you, and then after the system has been installed for up to 2 or 3 months, we'll come back and train you again and make sure that any specific questions are answered. And then we have a maintenance program as well, to where the team will come in twice a year and make sure that the system's functioning the way that it's supposed to, and as designed and as intended. Because we all know that after some time, months, and hands on knobs and those kind of things, that sometimes it veers off course just a little bit. And we want to make sure it gets right back on course, so it's the exact same system that you originally installed and sounds the same and feels the same and looks the same, and we make sure that that partnership is there. That's very important to us. So regardless of what happens, we will not walk away from the church or from your team. And Tom is going to make sure of that, and he'll be your strategic partner. And all of our guys, again, this is what we do. We're very passionate about it. I do it every weekend at my church, and it's just kind of who we are.
Awesome. Thank you so much, both of you, for sharing.